Hi everyone. I'm Paris and this is Lena, and we are leaders on your Natural Solutions tribe. And today we're going to educate you a little bit about diffusing. I think a lot of people maybe don't understand it, or maybe don't know anything about it, or maybe you do know a lot about it, and we're just going to teach you how to use certain oils. So first thing we're going to talk about is this is the diffuser, all right? And I think a lot of times people don't know that you have to use tap water in these. You don't need to use regular water. The oils actually need the minerals to carry them out. So you're going to fill this little guy up, never overfill. Some people think, well, I'll fill it up full and it'll go longer. Never overfill wherever it shows. This one has a little red dot. I can't find it in there. Little red dot, and it actually has a line. So you're just gonna fill it up to right below that. And then this is the thing that we wanna be sure you understand. No more than 2 to 6 drops of doTERRA oil in your diffusers. If you overload, it doesn't help you. A lot of times it'll cause the opposite effect. So we want to be sure that you understand that 2 to 6 drops is really enough for all of it. So we're going to go over some other stuff. Lena's going to talk to you about why we should diffuse. Why should we diffuse, Lena?
We should diffuse for lots of reasons, but it kind of boils down to 2 big categories. The first is that it purifies the air before we breathe it in, which is awesome. We know that there's lots of things floating around that don't support our body, and so if we can put something in the air that does, that's going to help us physically. So we'll talk about some specific blends that help with that. The other part is emotionally. Our sense of smell is our strongest sense. It has a lot more receptors in our body, and the great thing about your sense of smell is that it has almost a direct line to the limbic part of your brain. The limbic part of your brain has 0 capacity for language, so like rationalizing with that part of your brain does not work. And it has no logic capacity either. So when you're just having a raw feeling and emotion, that's the part of your brain that's sucking all of your energy. So if we can use something natural to help balance that part of our brain and how it processes those emotions, aromatically is going to be the #1 way that we can hit that part of our brain the fastest, but also a lot of times the most efficiently as well.
Excellent, excellent. Such a good point. And I just think it's really important that we're all natural. That's what we're really going for. So especially our emotional health. That's super important. So Lena and I are going to share with you some of our favorite single oils that we feel like you can put anywhere, typically 3 or 4 drops in a diffuser. You don't need more than that of any of these oils to get the benefits. But we're going to explain to you why we feel like they're the best benefit. And then after that, we'll go over some blends that we've made as well. So I'm going to start with just to clean the air benefits. All right. So the first couple, Melaleuca, I think most people know this is better known as tea tree oil. And the thing that we love about this is it's just a really big cleanser. So if you have anything going on in your house, or maybe you had some people that weren't feeling real well and that you need to get that out of the house, this would be a really good one to throw into your diffuser. Just 3 or 4 drops, throw it in there, run it all day long. I personally have 8 diffusers in my house, so you just get them all going, make the house feel all clean and better, or make you feel better. Purify. So Purify is one of those that has a very strong scent, but it'll clean the air. If you have a basement, I live in Colorado, Lena lives in Texas, they don't have basements, we do, but they get kind of, I don't know, dusky smelling down here. So I think sometimes Purify is the best thing, just throw it in there. If you don't love the smell of an oil, you can always add another oil to make it smell okay. So this one. And then last but not least, truly probably my favorite at this time of year when you start opening up the windows, everything else, 3 or 4, even maybe 5 drops, because I love lemon so much. Get that, just put it in all the diffusers throughout the house and get that air really, really clean. So lemon's a great one for that. So here's some singles that we love that we want to share and why we use them. So go ahead, Lena, pick yours.
We just have like a set here that we're picking from. Okay, so my #1 oil, always, it's my jam, is peace. If you are a worrywart, if you assume the worst, hope for the best kind of person, you're type A, you're a little high strung, stress is a factor in your life, peace is something that you need to be diffusing, especially in the evenings. I don't recommend it during the day.
Agreed.
There's some other oils we'll talk about for that, because it does have a tendency, at least for me, in my personal experience, to make me a little bit groggy. But if you need to turn off your brain because it's on hyperdrive, this is the first one, and it already has all of those beautiful oils blended with it. It doesn't need anything to go with it.
Agreed.
It's good on its own.
Absolutely.
I love it.
So we had talked about that because she picked her favorite, I picked my favorite. We have an emotional line, which a lot of people know about: motivate, cheer, all those. These are our two favorites. Mine is absolutely the opposite of what she does. I love peace. I think it's fantastic, but mine is passion, and I love this oil. This oil is my get it done oil, and I think a lot of times, anytime that I have a long to-do list or anything like that, I'm going to put 3 or 4 drops in everywhere. I put it in my car if I've got that kind of a to-do list, whatever, and I'm getting it done, and it makes the house smell amazing, but also my brain gets going. And you had mentioned earlier that it kind of gives you that creativity too, if you feel like you're stuck. So passion it's the inspiring blend. That's what it is. So I think this is the one that I'm always going to go for that one. So,
and it doesn't need anything.
It doesn't. It does not need anything.
Okay, so I said that peace is how I turn my brain off at night. Balance, if I need that same idea in the morning or throughout the day, balance is what I'm going to reach for. It's one that you can also use topically, but in a diffuser, it's really lovely. It's pretty. People like the smell of it. I don't really know anyone that's like, I don't enjoy that aroma. So that's nice too.
Yes.
That it's just pleasant.
It's just
but it's going to help. It's the grounding blend. So when you need to be pulled back down to earth a little bit, you're spinning up here about something.
Yes.
And this is actually also in Dr. Hill's daily routine suggestions, to just start your day by rubbing it on your feet. And because to pull you back down, because we have a tendency to automatically think, what do I need to be doing right this moment? Versus, okay, I just need to get my day started.
Right.
For a second. So, this is kind of my daytime, and then peace would be my evening grounding blend.
One more thing I want to say, or 2 things I want to say about this. This is really a manly blend as well. I mean, seriously, it's one of those things. Sometimes the florally ones, they're like, please turn this off. This is a really good one for that. But the other thing I wanted to say is, if you don't want the family to go to sleep, but you want the family to calm down, mellow out, we have things to do, we need to make the list, we need to get everything together, do that with the whole family. Just put it in there. You can change an entire room's atmosphere just by diffusing. And that's kind of something I love, because they don't really know you're doing it. It's kind of a sneak in. Or you have a husband that comes home and he's super stressed out. You can kind of fix that without them even having an idea, and you just see them kind of calm down. This one's great because it's not going to put us to sleep, right? We don't want to knock everybody out. That's not really our goals. So, all right. So my next one I'm going to talk about is Citrus Bliss, and this has been a long time favorite since I started this. I really love it, but then I kind of let it go. I believe we have a lot of people that are always saying your body kind of tells you what you need. This one right here is very uplifting. I think Lena was the first one who told me that she diffuses it in her car just to get awake and get, but it has vanilla undertones, and I am in love with that.
It's like a dreamsicle.
It is like a dreamsicle. That's exactly what it's like. So sometimes, and again, we're talking about diffusing, but sometimes the only way to get it aromatically is just to open the bottle and smell. It's the best thing. So highly recommend. Citrus Bliss. Does not need anything else. It's got plenty of things going on in it, but it is an uplifting oil, so it is going to wake you up.
I love it. That's probably my jam.
Yes.
And it kind of makes me break out when I do try to use it topically. So aromatically, it's like, it's the best.
Better.
I love it in my car on the way to work.
Yes,
Get
and
some
I agree.
jams
When you started
pumping.
saying that, there you go. Get yourself together.
My other one that I think is really underutilized. I have like a list of 5 that I think people really underutilize, and rosemary is one of them. I use this almost daily. We could do a whole video just on the benefits for your brain.
Yes.
It's
a brain oil. It truly is. I feel like it's a brain oil.
Rosemary and vetiver are both highly, like, if you have any issues in your family that have to surround any brain health, rosemary and vetiver would be a go-to. But the reason I use rosemary on the regular is because any kind of memorization or concentration. So if you are studying, you have kids that are studying, you are just trying to knock out a bunch of work that's very technical, and you need to sit and just focus and get it done. Rosemary, I usually also will sometimes blend it with like a lemon or a lime just because it's delicious, but it doesn't need it. It really can be diffused all on its own.
And I think lovely. These two together, sorry, but they are just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, and I want to, because obviously we have to stay very, very compliant, but I want to focus on that word memory that you said just a minute ago, because I had a lot of people who are using it with their parents, and so just you can take that for whatever you want to take it for.
Yeah.
So
that and vetiver.
Yes, that and vetiver. Right. Yes, very good for that. Very good for that. So we're gonna talk peppermint. It seems so basic. We all have peppermint. I have yet to think me anybody that's ever started oils and doesn't have peppermint. Right. It does everything. It truly does. It'll clean the air. It'll get rid of head tension. It'll get rid of stuffiness. It'll get rid of It's great for the same as what we were talking about with rosemary, but this one's more along the lines of just energy.
Yeah.
Just if you have that afternoon slump, throw some peppermint in and just crank it up. Just turn on your diffuser and just inhale for a little while. It'll really kind of get you back on track.
Or if I'm like, I really don't want to go to the gym.
Yes, it's
I'll
a great
diffuse that
one.
for
That's a
20
good
minutes.
one.
I'm like,
That's
okay.
Yes, I love that.
Okay.
That's so true. So peppermint's kind of a go-to for any energy stuff.
Yeah.
Don't you think? That's kind of a good one. And again, if you're having, I have a lot of people who have head tension problems, and you know, this is really a good way. Go over and just kind of sit by it and let that head tension just kind of clear. So peppermint's always going to be one you can use on its own. We have a lot of blends that we'll throw together with that as well. So
Yes. Breathe. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you can't breathe, you should use this, or if you're having any struggles. We're going to talk about my favorite respiratory blend of using some single oils together, but this is a little bit of a no-brainer. It's easy. Don't overthink it. If your respiratory system needs some support, put this in your diffuser. And it doesn't need anything else with it. Now, we are going to talk about some sleep blends that you are going to want to breathe with some other things, because we don't always consider how breathing and sleep go together.
Absolutely.
But if you're just feeling that groggy respiratory feeling, you feel like your body's having to overexert itself in the respiratory department, just put a couple drops. And this is another one, kind of like peppermint. You only need 2 or 3 drops.
Yes.
It's very strong.
Yes, if they're
scent.
blends on all the things that we just spoke of, the peace, the passion, all that, if they're just blends or just this, we really don't need more than 2 or 3 blends. 2 or 3, yeah, we have to remember that. So this one we're going to talk about next is just because we're so in love with her. So we, it's funny because we look at her and we call her, and we love her, and
She's a person.
she is a person, and she changes the world. She really does. This is Melissa. So now don't shut off right this minute and go, no, she's too expensive. I don't need her.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. Everyone needs Melissa. So, but here's why. One of the things in putting it in your diffuser before you go to bed, she will shut off your brain. I think that's why we love to call her name. She will shut off your brain. But also, we have a friend who said she teeth clenches all night long, and this has stopped it. Now, here's the thing. We know how much Melissa costs, and we also know that 1 drop will do you. So literally, in a diffuser that size, you can put 1 drop of Melissa, and that will be enough. So if you just need, this is like the one that I go to if everything else has not worked and I just need to tone down or just completely shut off, I'm always going to go to Melissa. And again, 1 drop is going to do it. So, and again, we're going to say it a million more times, but if you don't have her, you need her. You do. And we know how much she costs. I also know that you will treat her well and only use 1 drop at a time. You really, with it, don't need any more than that. So now that we've been extremely passionate about this oil, we just wanted to share with you. Teeth clenching issues, just shutting off your brain for sleep, she's perfect. All
Well,
right.
and if you're not on LRP,
Yes.
because the people in this group should all be members already, they have opened up. It was not always the case and may not always be the case, but
Yeah.
as of right now, this very moment that we're speaking, you can use your LRP points to buy her.
And we
So-
both, last month, that's how we bought
Yep.
her. We were running low on her, and I mean, we know she's $135. We're totally aware of that. But we used points. We used 135 points, and we got to bring her home for free. So that would be something to save your money,
Yeah.
save your points for. It's a great way. And then you don't feel guilty, so yay. All right, so Lena, let's talk about this supporting a healthy blood pressure.
We're reading it so that we're as compliant.
We have a bunch of things on
As
here, but this is
possible.
the one we needed to be the most of
Yes.
because we think it's really important that we maintain we maintain compliance. That's important,
Yes.
but also we want to be sure we were very specific on what this blend's going to do for you because
Yes.
so many people have problems with this.
Yeah, it's running rampant, and a lot of people don't even know that it's an issue until it's a really big issue.
Until it's too late almost. Yes,
Now, if you
you're right.
do have issues and struggles with maintaining a healthy blood pressure, you need to be in consultation with a doctor. Like, I will always be the first one to say that. But my dad has struggled with it for a long time, and he works very closely with his doctor team to get all the things in place that he needs. However, even within that, throughout the day, he has issues regulating from hour to hour at times. So he knows, because he tracks his blood pressure so closely, that there's just typically certain times of day that, regardless of what he's doing with his doctor, it's going to kind of raise or lower. It could be something as easy, like, people don't realize, even if you eat a big meal, Like your blood pressure could change, like not drastically usually, and if it does, you okay, go see the doctor.
That's right.
But he's noticed, and he doesn't like that. He wants to be able to see those numbers really stable, and it's just good for your overall health, man. I could just talk. It's sort of my soapbox. So, but he's been playing with these oils, and so this is his blend that he uses in his diffuser during those times of day that he knows typically he has a little bit of instability. So he diffuses cedarwood. Cedarwood's great for relaxation, and a lot of people use it for sleep too.
Yes.
He adds some eucalyptus to that to kind of wake it up so that he's not falling asleep throughout the day. But also it kind of helps open everything up and has some good relaxing qualities to it as well without making you feel tired. And then the one that I think is really the game changer, because he has played with all of these, and this is the one that he is like stuck to like glue, is ylang ylang. Great for sleep and relaxation as well. By itself, probably not going to put you to sleep, at least not in my experience. Doesn't necessarily give you that groggy feeling, but does help relax a lot of different systems in your body.
Very good.
And so not just your heart and cardiovascular system, but kind of all throughout your body. So he diffuses those three together. During those times of day, he knows he needs a little bit of support with that.
So, Lena, just 2 drops of each, right? That's what we're looking at? One drop of each? Okay, so
because
just like
he has
one
his
drop of each.
diffuser like this close.
Oh yeah, that's fantastic. So just being really close, but yeah. So I mean, you don't need a lot, and I think that's the other thing. When we say 2 to 6 drops, we're literally talking about if you're going to do blends like we're talking about right now. 2 to 6 drops. So maybe one of each one, or no more than 2 of each one. If you're doing a 3 blend, that would be a good one. So I'm going to talk a little bit. I love that because we needed to talk about that. We need that.
I feel like it's
support.
one that also because of compliancy things, that it's kind of hard to talk about.
It is.
So
it is. And we're very careful with our words. We want to be sure that we're doing everything right, but we also want to work on things that we think people need. And one of those is that for sure. So even if you're not to the point where you are on medication or you're doing any of those things, maybe just your doctor said it's a little high, you might want to watch that. That might be a really great place for you to do that all natural situation. So we're going to talk a little bit about sleep blends now. When I originally started with doTERRA, my goal for everyone was to get people sleeping, because I think that we would be a much kinder world if we all just slept more, right? Or weren't taking actual medication for it. So I have literally hundreds of members that we have gotten in touch, that we have gotten to where they are no longer at all taking any prescription meds, and to me that's just amazing. It truly is. So I'm going to show you a few of the sleep blends that I've recommended. The first one we're going to talk about, because my husband calls this a sleep bomb and will actually ask for it at times when he says I need to shut down.
For a man to be that honest, you know it works.
That's exactly right. So this is what it is, and it's 2 drops of each one. It doesn't show it that way. So we're going to do cedarwood and grapefruit, which is funny because a lot of people, cedarwood automatically, we all know that's very relaxing. I think your dad called it cedarwood coma. So it is very much a nice one that's going to relax you, but then we're going to add grapefruit, and we're just doing 2 drops of each one. We're going to do the grapefruit. I know that seems strange when I first did it, because most of our fruity oils, these are actually going to be pretty uplifting, but these 2 together knock you out in moments. So nice, and a complete sleep to where you sleep throughout the evening, or throughout the night. So those 2 work really, really well together. Another one that we were talking about, vetiver, is an oil that a lot of us, I haven't met anybody who enjoys the smell of vetiver, but I was told years ago when I first started my business that you should never ever open vetiver in a class, because people will just zone out and want to go to sleep. So that's what it's good for. Mixing it with some other things, whether you mix it with maybe a breathe blend. We could do Siberian fir. That would be a really good vetiver, and Siberian fir, very relaxing. That would be really a good one. Serenity is a single oil that is already mixed for you. It does have vetiver. It does have cedarwood. It has that, and then it has lavender. So this one's already mixed. You can do like 3 drops in, and it'll just knock you out. It's a really good oil. It's already mixed for you. I just like to kind of create my own blends, so that one works great. But it also goes in one of my blends. One that I love a lot, and this is 3 blends. Lena said that when I said it. Lena's like, "Oh, that's a lot of blends together." So you're gonna do breathe. All right, 2 drops of breathe, 2 or 1. You could do 1. 2 drops of serenity, and then 2 drops of on guard. And there's something about it. It's building your immunity while you're sleeping. It's clearing your respiratory system while you're sleeping, and then that serenity is going to give you that completely calm. So why would you not want to hit all of those at the same time? right? So those are good. I make my blends in these little one dram bottles so that I can just drop them in. I did that for a long time. I actually have now just bought, and I just buy the toppers, so it takes 2 seconds to do this. I think it's important that you're actually diffusing all night long. I wanted to mention one more thing. I have a lot of people that I've talked to, a lot of clients that they go to sleep fine. So when it comes to the sleep system, that's okay. They go to sleep fine. So what I tell them is to fill their diffuser, and then that wake up time that they do, then turn their diffuser on, right? And don't turn it on before you go to sleep because you're wasting all that. But then when you wake up, but if you wake up in the middle of the night, if you're a person who wakes up and then you just can't go back to sleep, then turn on your diffuser.
Yeah.
And that diffuser will work for you the rest of the evening and keep it the rest of the night and keep you sleeping. So I think you have to figure out what works best for you. And I said this earlier, I think probably not on this one, but you know what? Not all oils work for everyone, right? So you find your blend. I mean, I never would have thought cedarwood and grapefruit. That was not one that I would have ever, and we both went, wow, I slept like a rock last night. So you have to find what works for you. And remember, not all oils are going to be attractive to you. You're not going to love the smell of them, but if that benefit is there for you, keep using it. Keep using it. And what did we say earlier? Diligence is important.
Yeah.
You can't just use oils for a day and think they're going to fix you and then they don't fix you. You have to use them repeatedly. You have to continually use them. So I think those were mostly my sleep blends. When you go into respiratory, we'll point out this one actually goes in there. So you talk about respiratory blends because...
Well, I think it's interesting because a lot of the sleep blends and the respiratory blends overlap. And so when I talk to people about sleep in particular, I think it's important to think about, why are you not sleeping well? Like, that's why my husband and I have separate diffusers in our bedroom, which seems like in excess a bit, but because the reason he's not sleeping well is totally different than me. So we use different oils to combat that. And I think respiratory, a lot of people think, oh, I breathe great. When I'm upright all day long and I'm moving and grooving, I feel great. But then when you're horizontal and everything has a chance to settle, you might not be breathing in the nighttime as well as you think you are. So I do love that Paris throws in breathe into a lot of her sleep blends as well, because you might be fine during the day, but you never know when that respiratory system's kind of keeping you from sleeping as well as you could be. So breathe is great. I have struggled with respiratory issues for a long time, and so my go-to blend, and again, not everything works for everyone, but this is kind of just mine that works for me. Eucalyptus is great. It's probably, anytime you look up respiratory essential oils, eucalyptus is going to be towards the top of that. It opens everything, which is really important when we want. And my goal, so I kind of think of like my upper respiratory system and my lower respiratory system. And it's going to really help that upper respiratory system drain and move things the way that it needs to, so that I can have clear passageways to actually breathe the way I need to. And lime and or lemon also helps that upper respiratory section. It's very cleansing to the respiratory system, but also very drying.
Yes.
So if stuffiness and like you just feel stuck in there, lime and lemon are great for that. But when it comes to your lower respiratory system and like in your chest, the only oil that I have had true consistent support from is Siberian fir. If you have white fir, that'll work. You're old school, throwback. Siberian fir has replaced white fir, but especially in the realm of respiratory support, it actually has a lot more chemical constituents in it that support respiratory. So I had to let go of my white fir, and I've embraced the Siberian.
She rebelled for a minute, but it's good.
I did. But my other favorite part about Siberian fir, and if you have any respiratory issues, please put this on your next cart. It's worth it. It's not a lot of money.
Seriously, it's
but
not.
If you have respiratory issues because of emotional needs, if you are like really stressed out and like breathing becomes difficult,
Anxiety.
Siberian fir is really supportive of emotions and of respiratory system. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. Like one oil can support both. So it's a necessary in our household.
It's a beautiful, and she said it's not expensive. It's not an expensive oil at all. These two, when I talked about cedarwood and grapefruit, two extremely inexpensive oils that you put together that are going to be game changers for you. So I think that's
And
awesome.
I love the single oils, because even if, let's say, you're like, that grapefruit didn't work for me. There are 25 other uses to that grapefruit. It's not going to just sit on your shelf.
You're right.
So,
You're right. That's
it's awesome.
so true. So true. So just a couple of things that we didn't really talk about. We talked about rosemary, adding lemon to rosemary for concentration purposes, for if you're studying, if you have something that you need to learn, just anything, if you just need to sit down and do that. Lemon and rosemary are beautiful together. An energy one that I wanted to throw out there is peppermint and wild orange. Whenever I teach classes, I throw peppermint and wild orange together, just because I think that they work so well, and you get your alertness, you get your, just, I don't know, kind of creativity, all of those things together with that too. So last but not least, we wanted to tell you just a little bit about 4 oils that really shouldn't go in your diffuser. Okay, 2 of them are not necessarily they shouldn't go, they just don't give you any benefit. But HD Clear, which is an oil that you use on your face, all right, wouldn't make any sense for that to go, and Immortelle. Both of those are actually just face oils. They're not going to give you any benefit, but they're also should not be done. All right, so
those are like your no.
Yes.
doTERRA says do not put those in your diffuser.
Do not put those in your diffuser. The other thing I kind of want you to realize is we always talk about carrier oils. I know throughout all of our series and everything else that we do, we talk about carrier oils. Carrier oils have no business at all in your diffuser. So those touch systems, like if you get like Passion Touch, you don't want to open that up and put that in there. You do not want any of your carrier oils inside. These are straight oils, and that's why only 2 to 6 is really what we're looking at. The last ones, well, I'll ask you, do you think that Deep Blue and Aroma Touch should go into a diffuser?
Okay, so it doesn't say anywhere that you can't. So if you want to try it, we're not saying it's going to break your diffuser or hurt your body by any means, but Deep Blue and Aroma Touch are very specifically blended together to help muscle and joint support.
Yes.
So if that's what you're going for, if you diffuse it, you're not going to get that benefit. Now, are there oils in there that you're like, man, before I buy Blue Tansy, I want to see, does it really calm me down? And I know that's the main thing in Deep Blue. Okay, I guess you could try it.
Right.
But for the purpose of what those oils were meant to be blended for, you're not going to get those benefits out of diffusing those oils.
And even when you go online and it says how are these used, neither one of those
No.
say to do those aromatically. They just don't make any sense to do that. Mostly because it's just a waste of your oil. It's not going to jump out and go, oh, my back doesn't hurt anymore.
No.
That's not how it works. So, but again, I know a lot of people who love the smell of Aroma Touch, and it's like, I'm just going to inhale it,
go
which is
on
fine
with
if
your
that's what
bad
you want to do. Yes,
self.
there's nowhere does it say you can't use those that way. It's just that we feel like they're not really going to give you the benefit of what they're meant for. So we've had a blast educating you.
So fun.
I have one last thing we want to talk about because we didn't talk about it at all, and that is On Guard. So On Guard should be diffused all day, every day. I had it in my hand a minute ago and I don't know where it is. It is going to be your boosting immunity. That's what we're looking for. I don't know where it went. We want to boost our immunity for any good reason. I do it during the season of illness. I don't know how else to say that compliantly. I was going to use a word I knew I couldn't use. So anytime when everybody else is walking around not feeling well, we are doing it all night long, every single night. I will put it in all 8 diffusers of the house. If someone in this house gets ill, I will do that just to get that air clean and to do everything else. So On Guard is one that obviously most of you probably have, but it needs to be in the diffuser. Anytime that you've been, if you go out and you're with that person that you're like, oh, they weren't that well, let's just fill up that diffuser and get the house, get yourself build that immunity. And a constant building of the immunity is never a bad thing because you don't know when those things are coming. So,
and if you have the capacity to diffuse at work, like some jobs will allow you to do that. My husband has his own office and actually has them in other people's offices as well. If you run a business of any kind and you're around employees and things like that, or school teachers, if you're allowed to do it there,
we highly recommend
the
that.
benefits that it's going to be worth your money to go ahead and go get an extra diffuser and a bottle of On Guard because you're going to make your money back on people not missing work.
Well, and the other thing is nobody stays home when they are sick. We all know that. Everybody goes out. They never stay home. So you building your immunity consistently will keep, and then if you can build everybody else's in the building, that kind of means that you're going to get a lot more productivity as well. So that's a really good thing. So we're signing off. We hope that you really, really enjoyed this. We know, Kelsey, this was probably longer than what you wanted, but hey, we have educated you on diffusing, if nothing else. And you got 2 of us. So that was part of it too.
And neither of us are concise.
That's right. No, never have been. So anyway, have a beautiful day. We hope you enjoy. We hope you educated. If you have any questions, of course, always just post below. Lena and I will be paying attention. Talk soon. Bye.